Hi, how you doing? I'm Dr. Mark Gregg, chiropractor here in Phoenix. Just like to show you a few things as far as our core conditioning and strengthening the abs. The poster we have here on the wall demonstrates really what the core is. It's the group of muscles pretty much from your pecs down to your thighs. Obviously, everybody tends to really go into the ab workouts and the obliques and transverse abdominis type of workouts, which is fine. And then even do some of the low back extensors, which is fine, in the glutes. As important as that is, we want to say, well, there's something even more important. That is the core of the core, which are the psoas muscles, which are your primary hip flexors, which are the hip flexor motion is the butt kicker or the hacky sack type of muscle. That is attached to every one of these lumbar vertebrae's transverse processes, which is kind of like a guy wire and an antenna. The core of that core are the intrinsic muscles that we have in the spine. Now the spinal muscles that we have here really can only be exercised through some type of balance challenge. These balance challenges are done by the cerebellum. The cerebellum is a part of the brain. It's a fairly unconscious part of the mind's activity to move something. These are pretty gross mechanical movements, which is from the cerebrum, which you're actually telling yourself to do a crunch or do an extension. This we're going to challenge through various moves and various motions. Now the first one we're going to try to do is just a simple challenge test and see if you can accomplish this to be able to kind of qualify it to go to the next level. So we want to simply do the thing that activates the cerebellum, which is the fight or flight reaction. That primitive instinct activates a little bit more of an active weight distribution. So what we're going to do here is act like we're getting ready to go, or a takedown position, or getting ready to fight or flight, which is you inhale really fast. You do that abdominal hollowing. You suck in your gut. You get a little flex to your knee, a little flex to your hip, and you get ready. You fix a forward gaze, and you just hit it. So you come up and you go, and you're there. And you're starting to work the cerebellum. Is starting to work. And as you're flopping around here and trying to control your balance, these positional changes are what the actual exercise is. The better you get at this, it doesn't seem like you're actively moving those intrinsic muscles. So we create a series of challenges to make it even tougher. And that's usually done just through some type of distraction, meaning somebody's going to toss you something. You go to catch it, you have to adapt and really change. The ideal starter for somebody is about 10 seconds. And if you haven't gotten to 10 seconds, you really aren't qualified to go to kind of the next level, which are these other challenges. So if you can't get to 10, keep trying. It takes a few taps off the foot, and if you notice you tap once, start all over. And then until you kind of get it to where, hey, I got 10. You're ready to do the other leg. And obviously have something not around you, like coffee tables or furniture that you fall into. An open area would be the best. So say you can go to that level of 10 seconds plus. We're going to make the first move with the single leg, which is a simple toe touch. We're going to get your balance, get your core sucked in, ready to go. You're going to come down and tap the floor and come up. If you can get 5 of these maneuvers in a row without a failure, you did pretty good. That's actually the goal. There's 3. There's 4. And then number 5. You come up and you can find out pretty quick where all these little intrinsic muscles are in your feet. But we're also worried about the intrinsic ones in our back as well. Next step of this is we're going to go into a 2-legged approach. We're going to have one on each side of the disc. Again, you get your abdominal hollowing going, get the fight or flight ready, fixed forward gaze, and bounce. This is quite simple, so we're going to complicate this a little bit by simply showing how important vision is to balance. So all we do is hold your position and close your eyes. And all of a sudden, I mean immediately, the control goes. And you're really trying to input all that information from your knee joints, your hips, and your ankles into your cerebellum to really clean up that pathway for balance to come back. Obviously, I'm shivering a lot, and if you get to 20 seconds, that's plenty good. We don't want to go too much past that. There's no need to. You're probably going to fall eventually. Okay? You master that one, take a little breath, and you're going to go into a little active part of the 2-legged one, which is mainly just doing squats. You can just try off your first one, which is a modest squat. Take it down to about the knees to the butt level, and then finally get down, if your knees can tolerate it, down to your knees to your butt to your ankles. You get 3 of those, and you're good. If you really want to challenge this one to the next level, take it all the way down to the bottom and hang out there for a while. Really start shimmering and moving around. That's a good active strengthener for those muscles. Come on up, catch your breath. We're going to move into the next one, which is a removal of some of the joint receptors, which are the feet and the ankles. We're going to take those out, and now we're going to make it more of a knee, hip, and cerebellar and spinal activity. So I'm going to have you first suck in your belly, get your arms straight out, fixed forward gaze, and then you're going to bring your toes off the ground. Tendency is want to fall forward and fold. You just fight that and try to keep your back extended and your abs contracted. All these corrections are incredible workouts to the spine, and just a short amount of activity that I'm doing without any weights, working up a pretty good bead of sweat. So even though it looks pretty uncoordinated, the more the better. Okay? If you get through the knee one without killing yourself, you want to go to the granddaddy, which is going to contract that major hip flexor the most. You take all the feet, knees, and hip joints out, and we're strictly going to give this input to the cerebellum, to the spine. Whew, excuse me. We're going to have your feet up, have your belly sucked in, fixed forward gaze, then your fingers come off very last. You're going to hold your balance as best you can, make all these rodeo type of corrections, whatever it takes to hold on. Hold on. It's going to be simple after a while when you find your center point. So that's when we bring in the challenges where somebody will toss you, just a little ball, and you get it to the point where they can actually toss you a 5-pound weight, and you'll hold on to it and toss it back to them. Various heights, they'll toss it, various distance to the side, reaching forward, whatever they can do to challenge you, you got it. The second level of challenge is they can come in with some artificial taps or actually active taps where they'll tap your knee, whoa, throw you that way, push you that way, or act like they're going to push you, and then they don't. That activity there can be held for about a minute, and then you're going to have to kind of rest because that gets a little taxing to the psoas. And for somebody who's had some kind of back complaint or back problem before, you want to limit that one. That one could be the one that sets a lot of back problems off. If it's unstable or if they have a long-term history of some chronic back pain, just be satisfied with just doing the leg, the actual test without the challenges. And these being tone muscles should be activated on a daily basis. So whenever you have these things around, having them in a place where you can do it around the phone, around the TV, living room, and then after about 2-3 weeks of this, you're going to notice that you're going to do that single leg that you initially can only do for 10 seconds. You can nail that thing for a minute. It's just because you got a lot of the tone back to those intrinsic muscles, you got a lot of the pathway to the cerebellum basically retraced. Abs are strengthened, the core is established, and the psoas is strong. Life's good because balance is pretty much everything. People who have good balance tend to live longer. They don't fall as much, and when they do fall, they've got balance and they can kind of do it a little more gracefully. So that is the essence of our rehab for our core conditioning, and the only thing that we would do post this would be a psoas stretch. It's not a bad idea to do that prior, but if you would at least do a post stretch. We're going to have a foot straight out in front, knee kind of straight over that, line our shoulders up, very erect again. We're just going to lean forward, not forward this way, but forward where we're scooting our hips forward until it locks out, until you feel that psoas start to stretch. From that point, you get a good 20-second hold. You'll release, kind of recover for a little bit. Come back again, put this hand here, opposite hip, and put a little rotation on it. And if you get a crack or two, that's not going to kill you. But keep the pressure going forward until you bottom out, release that, and then switch legs, and then you've pretty much done the majority of the stretch you need to do. Feel free to do your other stretches that you're comfortable with in your repertoire, but that's the basic one. If you stick with that, you're not going to go wrong. Thanks.